Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20ZoneTv. I am joined by him, Westhamunofficial. You
And
don't
now
know who he
I'm
is?
by him, James Fever.
Yes, that's me. Hi. Anyway, E20ZoneTV. I'm going to do a player rating so far this season, and I thought about it the other week, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a bash. And me and Jake have done the player ratings for games. Now we're going to do it for 11 games in, and yeah, we're going to see who's performed, who hasn't, and who needs to get better and who needs to stay great. But if you're new around here, please do subscribe to my channel. I'm on 189 subscribers. Please get me to 200. I'll be very much grateful. So please do subscribe if you are new around here. Anyway, let's get into it, Jakey. And I'm going to start off with our Premier League goalkeeper, and it's this man, Lucas Fabianski. Take it away.
This is an interesting one because I believe personally we've got the new shiny toy in Alphonse Areola, and yes, he's a very good keeper. He showed that in the Carabao Cup game against Manchester City. But I feel that this season, from West Ham fans, Lucas Fabianski has had a bit of a hard time because, if perhaps he was, there was half a chance he could have got to it. I see fans on Twitter, not good enough, get Areola in. Fabianski has been solid for us this season. I mean, we haven't really conceded many goals, which is always a bonus. Miss Hammer, I have you out. But I think he's done a very good job this season, and people are quick enough to forget two fantastic saves that he's made this season because they want to get Areola in, which I understand. But he's made two fantastic saves this season. One against Harry Kane. Against Spurs, and one against, was it Watkins at Villa away, I think, one of them.
Yeah.
Two fantastic saves, in that Spurs game. If that would have gone in, that was just before half-time, with 1-0 down suddenly.
I agree.
But Fabianski, overall, I'll give him an 8. He's been good. He's done what he needs to do.
Yeah, do you know what? You're bang on there, Renee. I agree with everything you said. I think he gets a lot of disrespect because everyone wants Areola in, and I don't think that's right. I think he deserves to be in the Premier League goalkeeper, even though Areola's been good, and he has been good. For me, Fab's done all right. He's done all right. He made a howler at Brentford at home. I think for the second goal, he should do a bit better there, really, in my opinion. But an 8's fair, and I agree with an 8, 100%. Let's move on to this man, Cresswell. I'll start off with this one. It's a hard one with me because he's played and he gets injured and he hasn't played another game since, like starting wise. So he got injured against Manchester United, I think it was, and he's sort of been in and out. And then Ben Johnson's come in and just tore it up. I'm going to give him a 7. And it's going to be it's only a 7 because he hasn't really been there, but when he has played, he's always played okay. He played okay at the start of the season at Newcastle. Leicester, he done all right in. So, yeah, I'll give him a 7. What do you reckon, Jake?
Yeah, if Wikipedia is right, Vladimir Coufal's played 8 games so far this season. And to be honest, I don't see him getting a sniff in until Ben Johnson, as a couple of bad games on the spin, to be honest with you. We all know Coufal, you know what you're going to get, but he's not pushing Johnson out of this side at the moment. And we definitely wouldn't have been thinking that at the start of the season. When he played, he did his normal Coufal performance. I'll give him a 7 for what he's played. In the long term, Johnson's going to probably overtake him, but at some point this season, I still do think that you will see Vladimir Coufal start some more Premier League games, and he will at some point again this season become our regular Premier League right back. But it's a very, very good player. Two or three right backs we got there with Fredericks as well. We've got some very good right backs there, and it's good, healthy competition. As much as he'll feel a little bit hard done by Coufal, I think.
I agree, mate. I do. I think he's just got injured at the wrong time. That's the only way you can look at it. He's just got injured at the wrong time. But in one way, Ben Johnson playing might keep him at the club long term. So it benefits us long term. Do you know what I mean? So what are you rating him, Jake? What are you giving him?
I'll give him a 7.
7 is 7. It is. Moving on to this man, Aaron Cresswell. I've been quite surprised, pleasantly surprised with him, really, this season so far. I think he's done okay, and he's done good in like assisting goals. He's getting back to the Cresswell of last season, I must admit. What do you think, Jake?
Superb. It's criminally underrated, this man. He is criminally underrated by West Ham fans as well. When you take this man out of this side, then you realise what we're missing. It's not just the defensive side of things that he's very good at. Yes, he can get caught out and in behind with a bit of pace from time to time, but we're going to get that with Aaron Cresswell, I'm afraid. But you take him out of the side, you miss that offensive part of the game as well. You miss the balls coming into the box from the corners, his fantastic balls in, and you know, you often see him come on the overlap and create things down that left hand side. Superb again this season. So far from the 11 games, I can't really pick out a game that, you know, I sat back after and thought Cresswell had a mare there. Not even against Liverpool. Him and Fornals, which I thought they would, handled with the pressure really, really well. And that's what they've done pretty much all season long so far. I'm going to give him a 9. I think he's criminally underrated.
I'm going to agree, mate. I think he's been pretty decent, I must admit. And defensively, I thought against Liverpool, he was solid as a rock, especially against Salah. I thought pace kills Cresswell, but he proved to me that, especially against Salah, he didn't. Yeah, he hasn't really done anything wrong. He's done everything right, and he's getting better. And I think what it is, where Noble's not on the pitch anymore, and he's sort of one of the most experienced players at the club, Cresswell, he's taken that reins. And I see the connection with him and Zuma afterwards, and it was, top draw. So I'm going to give him a 9. I agree. Just want to do this quickly before we move on. A shout out to Mike. Happy birthday, Mike, from me and Jake. Have a good day, mate, and enjoy yourself. No YouTube. No YouTube.
Happy birthday, mate. I'll see you in a couple of weeks in the city.
Right. Moving on to this man, which I'm going to make this short and sweet. A 10 out of 10 for me.
Ooh.
He's first class. He's the best centre half I've seen at West Ham for a hell of a long time. And when I give him that 10 out of 10, it's not me being player biased, so to speak. It's me saying, you know what, this geezer's absolutely first class, and he makes a lot of our players better. I think he's made Ben Johnson a hell of a lot better. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for me, 100%. Yeah,
there's only one man I'm giving a 10 in this squad, and it's not Kurt Zuma. I think you can guess probably who it is, James, but Zuma, I agree, has been first class. He's been absolutely fantastic. It's an incredibly high 9. He is, when he's come in, he's slotted in really, really well. And, you know, what you pay for is class. We paid the money and we got class, and that's Kurt Zuma. And him and Diop are the future. And to be honest, as much as I love Craig Dawson's going off a little bit, I'd rather see us a Diop next to Kurt Zuma in Premier League matches from now on, to be honest with you, because they're the future. And, you know, Diop's going to make a couple of mistakes this season if he becomes our regular starter, because he's still young. And yes, I'm not his biggest fan because I always think there's a big mistake in him, but hopefully Kurt Zuma being there and with that top class experience can eradicate that out of his game and make him a better player as well.
100%, mate. 100%. I just want to get to this comment from Miss Hammerette. Says solid 9, but big question: will we be able to keep him? I believe we will. I believe we 100% keep this geezer due to the simple fact that I think out of the top 4, top 5, I don't think he gets in their teams, but I think he gets in ours. So yeah, 100% agree. I can't see him going anywhere, mate. West Ham reunited. Give him a salute. Hope you're all well, mate, and all good. And everything's all wonderful in the world, mate. Moving on to this man. Gutted that he's injured, but we move on. I'm going to give him. So it's a 7 or an 8 for me. I think he's been decent. He has been good. The Brentford game just killed me though for him. I thought he got absolutely ruined. I'll give him an 8, but it's just an 8 for me. He's been absolutely he's class this season for us. But certain games, it's just been, sometimes he's just gone a bit missing in certain games. And for me, I'll give him an 8. What do you reckon?
Yeah,
Jake?
Yeah, it's disappointing because, you know, he's getting on a bit, and if this is a grade 3 ACL, he's never going to play the same again. We saw it with Manuel Lanzini. It will happen if it is a grade 3, and it's as bad as it can get, and it's the 7 to 9 months for Angelo Ogbonna. Solid as always, as we've expected in the last few years with Angelo Ogbonna. I'll give him a 7. Very, very good. Yeah, I do agree. At times in some games he has gone missing, and sometimes he does get beaten for pace. But yeah. Very, very, very good. Disappointed that he's got injured, but we move on, and maybe this is a blessing in disguise for the likes of Issa Diop.
I agree. I do. I don't think he's going to be as bad a miss as we all think. I think there's people in there, Dawson and Issa, who can come in and do a good job, and he's going to be a miss, obviously, but I don't think he's going to be. He ain't going to change our season like people will keep thinking. So yeah, I have to agree with you there, mate. I really do. Moving on to this man, Thomas Souček, and this is going to be an interesting one because some people will say that this man hasn't performed to his ability. Some people will say he hasn't played in his natural position. What do you think, Jake?
And some people like me will say he is completely burnt out, in my opinion. He's gone off again and played more international football this week. This guy never stops. He's human. He keeps on running in games, which I just don't know how he keeps on running, to be honest with you. This man's a machine. And yes, he hasn't been bagging the goals. Yes, he hasn't been as effective as he was last season. But you take him out of the side, and we saw that against Genk. Was it the Genk away game? He didn't play.
Yeah.
Saw it. And with Noble in there, the game completely bypassed. And you bring Souček on, it just solidifies everything. The same with Cresswell. I don't think we realise how much this guy actually does and how much this guy actually means to a side without doing too much until you take him out of the side. I'm going to give him a solid 7 so far. Not as good as last season, but you can't blame the guy because he's not had a rest at all.
I'm going to give him a 7. I think 7's about right. I think when they changed the positions around against Brentford, I do believe we don't lose that game against Brentford if we're not having Declan Rice going forward and Souček as his sitting DM. I think Declan Rice is one of the best players in the world at the minute, and you play him in his natural position and you get the best result, and Souček just felt exposed there. He hasn't been performing to his best of ability, but you did see a difference, as you just said, about Genk. He comes on against Genk, and we looked a completely different side when he was in that midfield. And I know it's only Genk, people can say that, but you've got to respect Genk for what they are. So, yeah, I think 7's about right. I've got to agree with you on that one. But moving on to our captain, leader. Take it away, Jake.
Captain, leader, legend. You don't need to say anything else. 10 out of 10. He's got better this season. Now, I don't think many of us could have perhaps said that as much, but this man has gone from here to here from this season. He's just took an extra 2 steps in his career, and people are now talking about him as the best defensive midfielder in the world. He is one of the best on-form players in the Premier League, and there's nothing nobody can say about that. Week on week, he just performs, and it just goes so under the radar, and I just to be fair, I don't care. He goes so under the radar with pundits, I think, flipping Graham Souness and whoever still want him to play at centre-back. No. This man's got talent going forward defensively. Whatever you want in that midfield, he will do. And there's nothing else to say but 10 out of 10 for Declan Rice. Yeah,
I agree. 10 out of 10. I think without him and Zuma in his team, we're nowhere near in the top half of the table. I don't even think. I think he's world class. I think he plays like Billy Bonds with the heart and determination. He's got the skill of Bobby Moore. He's like a reboot, mate. And you know what? As long as we keep this geezer at the club, we will win something. And I will keep saying that and banging that drum. I think he's an absolute inspiration. I think he attracts players to the club.
He's a winner.
I think he's a winner. Yeah, I think he's got that determination, passion, and for how much we all love Mark Noble, Mark Noble's never been world class. He's been very good, Mark Noble, but he's never been world class. And I said this on West Ham Fan TV last season, the last game of the season against Southampton when we was in lockdown and everything. And I turned around and I said, as long as Declan Rice is at this club, West Ham's got every chance of winning something. And I do believe that 100%. I think he's 10 out of 10. He makes other players better. He's a leader. He's got a personality. He's not like a robot. Like when he's talking to people in interviews, he's being real. And that's all we ask for. So, yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. Top class. Absolute top class. Moving on to Vlasic. Now, this is going to be polarising because, Jake, I want you to give me your rating on Vlasic first, mate, and then I will give you mine. He hasn't impressed me, for me.
This is the one that I thought you definitely would have wanted to go first for, James. So, James, I'm going to invite you to go first.
Oh, you're inviting me to go first. I'm just checking the comments, make sure that everything's been under control, and let me go first then. Not impressed is the word I'm not impressed at all with this geezer at all. He made his debut at Southampton away this season as a sub. He come on, he looked lively, but yeah, I made his debut. Then Mikel Antonio goes and gets sent off against Southampton, and then Vlasic's chances in front of 60,000+ fans against Manchester United. Very big game for West Ham fans against Manchester United through history. He plays 60 minutes in that game, and he just does not do anything. And ever since then, I've watched him in Europe. He's done okay in Europe. He come on as a sub against Leeds, I think it was. But he's done really not a lot. And for £33.5 million as a West Ham player, so to speak, he's got to be trying to break into that first team. And Manuel Lanzini has done more than he has. And to me, that's not acceptable. Manuel Lanzini should be on his decline. And Manuel Lanzini's going up, and Vlasic is not going anywhere. I'm going to rate him, and I'm going to give him, for the price tag and for what he's done, I'm giving him a 4. And that is me being as real as I can be. I think anyone who gives him higher than that, I think I can't understand why. So it's a 4 from me. Take it away.
I agree. I do. He hasn't done anything. And just to pick up on that Lanzini comment, I think, and you said it, I think was it on Andy's show last night or one of the other shows, was I think that, to be honest with you, Saïd Benrahma's going off in a month or so's time to the Africa Cup of Nations. Now, don't be surprised, and you said I'm going to nick it. Don't be surprised if Manuel Lanzini gets in the side ahead of this guy. He hasn't done anything yet, and I'm sure David Moyes is thinking, I hope this geezer does something, because he hasn't done anything yet. He looked quite lively for the 20 minutes he came on at Southampton, but apart from that, there's been nothing else. I'm going to give him a 5, a little bit higher than you, James. He's got potential there. I'm still convinced that there's something there that might just happen. But, you know, if we're still saying the same thing in 2 months' time when Saïd Benrahma's back, I think there's only one place he's going, James, and that's out the door.
I think, don't be surprised, and you can clip me on this, don't be surprised if he's out on loan before too long. If Jesse Lingard arrives in January, where does Vlasic fit in for me? And I just don't know where he fits in. For me personally, before we move on, I just don't see it being a Moyes signing myself. I really don't. Because we don't need another number 10. We need a striker. And for some reason, we've got another number 10 there. Lanzini can play 10. Fornells can play 10. Benrahma can play 10. That's 3 10s I can name off the top of my head. And yeah, we will see what happens in the next few months. But when Benny goes to the African Cup of Nations, he's got to step up. But will he? Will remain to be seen, for sure. Moving on to this man, Pablo Fornells. Anyone who's seen my reaction the other week, it was quite unreal.
Have you got it there, James? Have you got it?
If you want to be reminded, here it is.
Fucking get in there! Fucking come on! Best player on the pitch by country mile.
That was my reaction to Pablo Fornells' goal against Liverpool to get us 2-1 up. This geezer is starting to grow on me a little bit, in my opinion. I never rated this geezer, as Jake knows, and as people know in the chat, and everyone who watches this video. I just thought, I looked at him, I thought he works hard. I keep hearing the phrase works hard. There was nothing there. But I must admit, over the last couple of games, I've started to see what people are raving about with Pablo Fornells. I thought the Liverpool game, he was the best player on the pitch. I think you see a difference when he's not on the pitch, and I can understand the hype with this geezer. I really can. I'm going to give him, I don't know, it's an 8 or a 9 for me. I'm going to give him a 9 because I think he's very important part of that 4. And yeah, long may that continue for me. Take it away.
Superb player. He grew on me towards the end of last season, and he's kept on growing and growing and growing all through the start of this season as well. He's been a superb player, and he's a key element to our front 4, and he's starting to add goals to his game, which we all wanted. So he's just starting to become a perfect picture in that front 4 for me.
Yeah, I agree. So what are you giving him, Jake? Sorry.
Give him I'll give him a 9. Yeah, a 9.
Oh, it is a 9. A 9. It's a 9 for him. But now, will Jake be invited on this show again on this man?
Right. It's going to split opinions, this is.
I'll let you go first, Jake. Go on, sir.
Oh, let me go first. Flipping heck. Saeed Benrahma. Yeah, he is. I believe you still got your bet, James. 10 goals. What's he got so far in the Premier League? He's on 3, isn't he?
Yeah, 3 at the minute.
7 to go. Still plenty of time, even though he has that Africa Cup of Nations might mess that up for you, James. I don't know, but yeah, Saeed Benrahma. He just keeps on getting better and better, and he will throughout the season. I'm convinced of it. I'm gutted he's going off to the Africa Cup of Nations. I can't lie, because we do need him. And when we're in these difficult situations, we will be against the likes of Brighton and these just horrible, and Burnley. These just annoying sides when we need a goal, when we need something. This is the guy you call on, Saeed Benrahma. He makes things happen, and he will continue to make things happen all season long and for the seasons to come. Hasn't hit his full potential yet, and that's why I'm going to give him an 8. Because I think he's still got room to grow in there, and we hope to see that in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I agree 100% with an 8. I think he's getting there. I want to start seeing him run at players, though. I'm not seeing enough of him running at players. He gets one-on-one with a player and he wants to pass it, and whether that's being drilled into him to pass and move, I don't know. But when Benrahma's up against a defender one-on-one, I fancy him to beat him all day, all the time, basically. And I think he's top draw. Yeah, the bet's still on. I don't think it will mess up the African Cup of Nations because there's loads of games involved, whether the African Cup of Nations goes ahead. But he scored the other day on his international game, and if he can start bagging a few before the end of the year, I'll be happy. I'll be happy going into the new year. I think 8's about right, though. He needs to, if he wants to get up to the 9s and 10s, he needs to start being more effective in the final third. He's working hard. I've got to give him his due. He's defensively, work rate's looking pretty decent. But I want to see the other end of the pitch, and scoring some more goals would be nice for me personally. So yeah, an 8 is about right. Moving on to Jared Bowen. I'll start with this one. He's impressed me massively, this geezer, this year. Massively. He looks like he's lost weight. He's sharper. He's faster. The end product is an issue. That's the only issue I have, his end product. If he starts banging in goals, this geezer turns from a £25 million purchase from Hull into a £60+ million player. 100%. For me, he has impressed me, though, I must admit. And I was always saying, if it was to change a player for Jesse, it'd be Bowen. I don't know where Jesse fits in this team at the minute. I want Jesse at the club, but I don't know where he fits. But for me, I'm going to give him a solid 8. Solid 8. Just the goals. If he could score some more goals, then that's a 9 and a 10 for me. Same with Benrahma, really. But he has impressed me, Bowen, especially from last year. What's your rating, Jay?
I keep telling people about this geezer. He's just got better and better, coincidentally, since he started hooking up with Danny Dyer. seen they've been on a romantic weekend this weekend, so hopefully he's going to come back and bag some goals at Wolves away. But yeah, in all seriousness, he's continued to impress, and that's what we want to see with our creative players like Benrahma, Bowen, Fornals, is to see them start scoring more goals, and it's coming naturally. It's coming. The more the weeks, months goes on, the more they start scoring, and this is going to become a regular occurrence where we're going to see more goals coming from our creative midfielders. And the only way is up for this man, and I look forward to seeing him hitting the peak and still not getting in the England squad, but that's a story and a discussion for another day.
So what's your rating again?
I'm going to give him a 9.
9 out of 10 for Jared Bowen. Moving on to this man, Mikel Antonio. This is going to be polarising for me because he started off well and then he sort of drifted in and out, sort of thing. Right, he started off well. Newcastle away, Leicester at home, Palace. But recently, I know he got the goal against Tottenham, but he hasn't really been in the game as in an attacking threat, so to speak. He's been a nuisance, but in the final third, he hasn't really sort of, what's the word? Being a main striker, basically. Like when your main striker shares shots and make the keeper work, and a few games he hasn't. I know others have, Fornals, Bowen, Benrahma, etc. But for me, I'm going to give Antonio an 8. I think it's only an 8 because of how he started. I think if that would have carried on, he would have got a 10 for me. Like, really is. I know he works hard and he's a nuisance and he's important because he's like the muscle at the front line. But he needs to be getting, like, top strikers need to be at least having 1 or 2 shots a game. And sometimes he's nowhere, he's drifting left and right. He's all over the place sometimes. It's an 8 for me. What do you reckon, Jay?
Yeah, sometimes I agree. Sometimes I do feel like he gets a bit impatient where he's not quite getting as much service as he'd like, and he drops deeper, and then he comes and picks the ball off Fornals, Bowen, Benrahma on the wings and has it on the edge of the box. You can't edge of the box, and doesn't out either on whichever side, on the right or left hand side, and then goes to put the ball into the box and realises he's the only one that can really head the ball unless Royce or Souček have come up. So he's then thinking, if I put the ball into the box, no one's really going to head it. What do I do now? And he does get a bit impatient at times when he doesn't have as much service, but he's scored 6 goals so far this season. We are 11 games in. There's how many games are there? 38 games. So if he still goes like this, if he goes on the rate he's going now, he's going to get 20 plus goals this season. And we haven't seen that at West Ham for a heck of a long time. And of course, that's injury dependent as well. If he doesn't get injured, I'm sure at some point it will pull. But whatever David Moyes' backroom staff is doing, there's definitely something there that's getting this hamstring injury problem out of him, because somebody or something is getting it out of him, because usually by now he'd be down on the operation table getting something done to his hamstring. It hasn't happened yet, and he looks fitter as well. So whoever's doing wonders to his hamstrings, to his body, to his health, whatever, thank you very much, because he doesn't look like he's going to get injured. And when he's on it, all you need is one chance. Against Liverpool, it's frustrating. Such an Antonio thing to do was to, be nearly through on goal with the pegs and then to get the ball muddled up in his feet. Such an Antonio thing to do. But yeah, if he keeps going on, he's getting 20 goals this season, and you can't complain with that. I'm going to give him an 8. I agree with you. Not quite hit fantastic form, and not quite been up there with the best. But he has been at times, but he's almost dropped off slightly. But yeah, still good from Mikel Antonio.
I agree. Moving on to the final few players, and this man, Ben Johnson. He's come in for Cresswell now, and he's took the reins of Vladimir Cresswell's position. We spoke on your channel, Westhamunofficial, last year, and people were slating this man, saying he's not good enough, he should be out on loan, he needs to be sold, etc. When you play this man in his natural position, he's quality. And for me, I'm going to make it short and sweet. He gets a 9 out of 10 for me. I think he's been absolutely first class. I think the goal against Villa was class. I think the first goals that he's conceded in the Prem, correct me if I'm wrong, is against Liverpool.
Yeah.
And since he's started. He clean sheet at Everton, clean sheet at Tottenham. Oh, tell a lie, Villa. Villa, he was the first one. And yeah, but he's just been very, very good. Like, even he played in when we come back from international, we played Everton. We had no Kafal, and basically he played Everton. Then he played the Europa League game. Then he played against Tottenham. Then he played in the League Cup game, I think it was. Man's a machine. He has to be signed. There's no excuses. Pay him what he wants. Get him at this club for 5 years, and he will be a class right back in 5 years. So, yeah, 9 out of 10 for me. What's your thoughts, Jake?
As you know, probably, James, I'm not the Ben Johnson's biggest fan. I've been quite harsh on him in the past and at times this season as well. But especially in that Aston Villa game and the Liverpool game, he's really grew on me, and I think that he's in the works of becoming an extremely good right back, and he's going to continue to keep Soufal out of this side until, you know, a couple of games come and a couple of not fantastic performances, and Soufal might get a look in again. But, you know, credit where credit's due for keeping Soufal out of the side. I mean, that's just a massive achievement in itself. I think he's out of contract at the end of the season, isn't he, James? So we've got to get him signed up, along with, I think it's about five or seven players that are out of contract at the end of the season. So that needs to be sorted. Hopefully with some injected more money, with more better wages for people that need it, with Daniel Kretinsky coming in. But we'll have to wait and see with that. But yeah, Ben Johnson, I'm going to give him an 8. Not his biggest fan, but the last couple of games I've definitely seen him come into his element for me, and keeping Soufal out of the side is a massive achievement for a young player. You
are harsh, but I like you. It's fine, mate. Moving on to a player that you like, Mr. Craig Dawson. I've got to start to remember now. Obviously, he came in at the start of the season against Newcastle, had an absolute mouth. But I'm going to look at him, the Liverpool game recently. He's come on and done a job at Everton when he was defending against Tottenham. I think it was the same thing. I think against Liverpool as well, I think. Yeah. He come on, against Liverpool early, though, that was, for a Bonner. Yeah. So I'm going to rate him a very, very high 7 for me. It's not an 8 because he don't play enough, but I think 7's about right from where I'm at. What's your ratings for Dawson, mate? What he's done this season, he's came in and done a Craig Dawson job. He scored a penalty against City in the Carabao Cup, a very crucial penalty in that penalty shootout, I must say. A lot of people that were in the ground said that there was a groan when he stepped up to take it. There was only one thing he was going to do. He was going to do it Julian Dix style, and I'm sure Julian Dix was very proud of that penalty from Craig Dawson because, you know, he's very much rough and ready, a very much, you know what you're going to get, the odd mistake, but a very decent take no rubbish centre-back that is Craig Dawson. You know what you're going to get. It's a 7 from me. I love the man for proving everybody wrong. Everybody nearly had a heart attack, I think, when he came in that Southampton game just after Christmas in 2020. And look where he's come now. He's been put on the bench by a very, very good class £30 million player, which you just can't complain about. And when he's called on, he does the job, and you can't, want anything more than that. For what he's done this season, a 7. I agree, mate, with you 100%. Obviously, we've got players like Diop, who hasn't played, from my recognition. I can't remember him playing. Mark Noble, who's come on off the subs bench for minutes. There's no point. But I think this man has come on and played a few minutes in games. Mr. Yarmolenko, Jake. Get your rating on that man, mate. I was just open. Right, let's wrap this up without talking about Andrei Yarmolenko. If we're talking about Premier League, I'd give him a 4. If we're talking about Europa League, I'd give him a 7 for his Europa League performances. I think, we haven't been our best in Europa League, I don't think, because obviously it's been our second teams for most of it, for the majority. Oh, Christ. He's looked in some of our Europa League games. He's looked one of our best creative players. Now, that's hard for me to say because I don't rate the geezer, but he has played well in the Europa League
Premier League, Premier League he plays for West Ham, Europa League he plays for Ukraine. It's the bottom line of it. It's like a 4 for the Premier League. He's just not up to it in the Premier League. I think with the Europa League it helps him because it's a slower pace as well. It's what he likes. It's almost made up for Andre Yarmolenko, players like him, Lanzini. But yeah, Premier League, nowhere near good enough.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Even though he won the penalty for us against Manchester United, he did run around and he runs around like head of chicken sometimes. He has got better this year, though. I will say one thing: he does look like he's sometimes he looks like he's trying to a point. But yeah, I'll go with you, mate. A 4 for me. And finally, this man, Manuel Lanzini. He's come on in games, and for me, I think he looks the part, mate. Like, I really do. What do you reckon, Jake?
Huge respect to this geezer because you come back after one of the most horrific injuries that you can get in football. That what Angelo Bonner's got to deal with now, which is a completely torn ACL, and he's come back. And when he first came back, we thought, yeah, he's lost a couple of yards of pace. He's never going to be the same again. When he's had a chance this season, I'm convinced he will get a chance in the next couple of months when Ben Rama's away. He will get a chance in the Premier League. He's almost looked like he's got a bit stronger. He's got a bit more, what's the word? He's got a bit more mobile and just a bit more suited to the Premier League, I think. And he can sit in that defensive role, or he can be that creative player in the Europa League. But what he's done this season, he's been very good. I'm going to give him a very high 7.
Yeah, I think he's been very, very good. Very, very good. I think even when he come on against Villa, that done it for me. I thought, you know what, he come on, I know they're down to 10 men, but he's controlled the ball. He's technically very good. He always has been, Lanzini. And for me, for what he's done from the bench, he hasn't really started any games. I don't think he started any games for West Ham. I'm going to give him an 8. I think he looks the part. And this is the question that I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask everyone in the chat this right now. If you've got a choice between Manuel Lanzini or Vlasic, who'd you pick?
Manuel Lanzini. There's absolutely no debate about it until we see something, or David Moyes something in a glimpse, something good from Nikola Vlasic. It's got to be Manuel Lanzini because he's been the one on form when he's had his opportunities this season. I would feel more confident at the moment, afternoon, Rob. I'd feel more confident at the moment with Manuel Lanzini in that until we see something solid from Nikola Vlasic. But you're only going to see something solid from Nikola Vlasic unless you start him. So that's the other side of it. So, I expect Nikola Vlasic will get the majority of games when Ben Rama's away. But yeah, that's what I'm going to keep saying. Don't be surprised if Manuel Lanzini does get ahead of him a couple of times in the Premier League.
Yeah, 100% agree. And finally, the Messiah, Mr. David Moyes. For me, I think he's been absolutely phenomenal. It's hard to rate this geezer. I don't want to give him a disservice and say an 8 or a 9. Because I think even a 9's being rude. I think everyone will say, you know what, it's a 10 out of 10 for us at the minute. But I've got to be realistic. If it was 10 out of 10, we would have made sure we would have beaten Palace after being 1-0 and 2-1 up. And we would have, I think, the only reason why I will give him a 9 is because of the Mark Noble penalty incident at Manchester United at home. So yeah, I'll give him a 9. I think he's been absolutely top draw. I think he's getting his subs right. I'm liking that he's fearless now against top teams. He proved against Liverpool. He went 4-2-3-1 and went, right, we're going to have a go at these and we're going to give it 100%. And what a difference 8-9 months, mate. We played Liverpool on the 31st of January this year. We got absolutely outplayed, and then we play them the other day and we look a completely different team. So I'll give him a 9. I think 9's about right for Mr. David Moyes. What is your rating, Jake?
Yeah, I agree. When you say 10, everything's got to be pretty much pitch perfect. And, it's not his fault that we conceded in the last minute against Brentford. We won at our best on that day. I don't really want to talk about that Noble penalty incident too much because it just gets boring and I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest with you. But I'm going to give him a very high 9. And, if we sit in a Champions League spot with, let's just say this. If we sit James, if we sit in a Europa League spot, whether it's Champions League or Europa League at the end of the season, with some silverware in our cabinet, you can't give it anything but a 10, surely.
Yeah, I agree, but I think January is massive for that rating. Like, I think I don't want to hear anything more about we can't go and find a backup striker, like, and things like that. I think that you can understand it with GSB because they're penny pinchers, but we've now got this new shareholder, Mr. Daniel. I want to see some signings in January, and if we do, then I believe anything is possible, and I do mean anything. I mean, like, if we can sort of maintain this up till January the 1st, come January the 1st, I want to see new blood in the club where we can go from there up another level. And yeah, I agree with you, mate, 100%. So, what you're rating him? Well, what, Jake?
A very high 9.
Very high 9 for Jake on Mr. Moyes. And that is a wrap from all of us. Quick question. Lingard for 10 million, yes or no? Yeah, sign him up, mate, because that 10 million could end up making us win a trophy, and I haven't seen a trophy in my lifetime, nor has Jake. So, and the Betway trophy does not count, just to say that. You know,
Betway Cup, don't do a disservice, James. The Betway Cup, yeah. The Betway trophy.
Well, you know it is, but we move.
Oh, we forgot about him.
I forgot about Ryan Fredericks. I don't think he's played in the Premier League this season, though. I don't think he's played. I think
not too much, no.
No, he's played in the League Cup, and this is a Premier League rating show. So, Wally, I've got round that pretty smoothly. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to call it a wrap with that. That has been Jake Cock from Westhamunofficial. If you don't know who he is.
Hang on. That has been James Fever from E20ZoneTv. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to E20ZoneTv. I'll do it for you, James. Let's get you up to 200 subscribers. Come on, let's get this guy to 200 subscribers, and then he'll be happy.
I'll be happy with even one new subscriber, but yeah, 200 will be grand. Honestly, it would. Yeah. Please do subscribe to Westhamunofficial. It goes a long way. It helps him out getting to 2,000. I would appreciate getting to 200. Yeah, I mean, I would. So, yeah. And I will back soon, mate. Obviously, we've got Wolves coming up next Saturday, 3 o'clock. Are you going, Jake?
We are.
Jake is going to Molineux, mate. Oh, you like it in the up there. I'm not sure where that is. That's West Country. No, not West Country.
No, so it's to Villa, and it's about 25 miles on from Villa for us. Obviously, it's a bit down for you when it's up in London. So for us, it's up another 20 odd miles. So yeah, it'll be fun. Go to Birmingham again.
Oh no, nice little trip for you. Charlie G just put a good comment here before we wrap. Backup striker, James. I want a main striker for Antonio to learn from once partnering the formation change. I agree. We do need a striker. But I think the problem we have is no one's prepared to come and be a bench warmer. You know what I mean? We could have got Origi, really, and let's be honest, look how well Origi played the other day. But we will save that for another time. Anyway, thanks for watching. Smash the like, it goes a long way. I'll be back soon with this boy over here to do something new for your entertainment. So stay locked to E20ZoneTv. And that is goodbye from me. And it's goodbye from him.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.